Welcome back, everyone. You're still watching the morning show here on the Rise News. Well, Okpe joins us now with stories on what's trending around the world. Hello, Oji.
Good morning, beautiful
Good morning,
Adesua.
Good morning,
Dr. Mati. I've missed you on the set.
I know.
How's your weekend?
Well, she's on the set.
On this
Not
one
the
particular
segment.
What's Trend. I haven't seen her in a while. It's nice
Now
to
here
have
she
you.
is.
Yes. Well, good morning to you, viewers. We begin What's Trending today in Nigeria. The governorship and senatorial elections in Kogi and Bayelsa State have no doubt been quite controversial. Gunshots, ballot box snatching, and vote buying characterize the theme of the elections. Senator Dino Melaye, who has been highlighting the electoral shenanigans, was seen counting naira on election day in a video that went viral on social media over the weekend. Obviously, the video seems like he was buying akara, bean cake, for the people at the polling booth. But, I mean, this is a lawmaker. I believe there is something fundamentally wrong with our democratic process. If a lawmaker thinks it's okay to do that on election day. I don't know what your thoughts are.
Well, I mean, you may complain that because it's election day, but clearly I don't think that was at a polling booth. And it's part of the population.
He was just leaving the polling booth. That's exactly where he was. That's his polling center.
No, he was at, a place where they're selling either puff-puff or is it bean cake that is being shown on the screen. And, politicians like to strike the common touch, but the only concern will be that this is election day. Someone may interpret it to mean a form of inducement.
Especially because it's a candidate in the election.
Yes, because it's a candidate, and you could see the people were quite excited that he bought them a bean cake. But in any case, all politicians do this. When they are not buying roasted corn, or stopping by the roadside to buy fish and take pictures and circulate the pictures, they all do it. But I agree with you, it's on election day. It may seem inappropriate. But in any case, the election in that senatorial district has been considered or declared inconclusive by INEC. So a new date will be fixed for the election, and it will be in all the 53 polling units in Kogi West Senatorial District. So whether he was buying the bean cake to induce voters or not, it's ineffectual. But it will be difficult to prove, really.
It looks really bad. It looks really bad
that this
for him,
made any material difference in the process.
I agree with you that there's no good way to say this.
Yeah. You must also note, so that it
it
doesn't look like he's been, singled out for criticism. The fact that, he lost his nephew in the process of the election.
Yes, true.
His nephew, Juwon, was buried yesterday. And that must be really very painful for him.
Yes,
I mean, nobody should lose his life,
because of an election.
In an attempt to vote, exercise their right to vote. And at the time he is mourning, let us not commit the, incorrect, offense of been accused of singling him out.
I just got to protest your friend because
it's what's trending and it's on social
and because
media,
I followed it, I followed this video and the comments that trailed it, and the argument of this is not different from the market money or social investment program that the ruling government also disbursed days before the election.
How much money was it?
Dr.
So there's something wrong with our democratic process.
Absolutely.
The optics are not, they don't look good. If this is right or this is wrong, I mean...
Well, I think it is. I mean, there has to be some policy against that because there's no way it does not look like...
We definitely need to continue to enlighten our people as well,
And look at how the people are rushing
and excited,
struggling over the bean cake.
But on a lighter note, we do know that some of these polling units don't open early.
Somebody even carried the boat.
Yes, this polling units don't open early. People left their houses to go and vote early, without breakfast. They had something to eat, but because you ask why is the bean cake woman there in the first place?
Wait, I mean, that's her business.
Exactly, and people came out to vote on empty stomach.
Yes.
You know, so... Well,
I mean, that's a money-making place to be. If I was a bean cake seller, that's exactly where I would be.
Then you'd be accused of the same thing.
No. I'm just feeding people. I'm not asking you to buy food for people. I mean, I'm just there doing my business.
In any case, just by way of observation, I think Senator Dino Melaye, if indeed he wanted to buy bean cake for the people there who were hailing him, he could have asked one of his assistants to do it.
Exactly.
He didn't have to be the one
you just made the
to do it
point.
personally.
Correct.
Yes. He could have asked his PA.
But with Senator Dino Melaye, everything is drama still.
Well, all right, let's head over to the UK now. The Duke of York, Prince Andrew, has taken a stand by his decision to take part in an interview about his links to the late convicted sex offender, Jeffrey Epstein. In an interview with BBC Newsnight over the weekend, the prince denied having sex with a then 17-year-old girl, Virginia Giuffre. People close to Prince Andrew said he wanted to address the issues head-on and did so with honesty and humility. However, the interview has been described as a car crash. This was a 49-minute interview, and at every point, he seemed like he was shooting himself on the foot. I don't know what happened to him. I don't know who advised him to give such an interview, but it looked really bad for him. And everyone has been talking about it on social media. It's horrible. I mean, if you know the story behind Jeffrey Epstein's case, I don't know if you guys followed that story.
Of course.
The sex offender.
And Epstein eventually committed suicide.
Committed suicide in jail, correct. And Jeffrey Epstein and Prince Andrew had been friends, even up until when he was convicted and he went to jail. Even coming out of jail, there was also a party that was thrown, and he apparently attended the party as well. I mean, I don't understand what happened to Prince Andrew.
Well, you said the interview, you said somebody described it as a car crash. Some royal biographers have even been harsher. They say it's an articulated lorry crash.
Lorry crash.
But there seems to be a consensus on both sides of the Atlantic that, the interview was a bad idea. He had consistently, denied any wrongdoing. The allegation by Virginia Giuffre, formerly Virginia Roberts.
Correct.
At the time she was 17, she claimed that, Prince Andrew violated her. But he has consistently rejected that and said he's innocent. But I think the main issue is whether indeed he should have done this interview in the first place.
What was the purpose?
And the consensus, as I said, is that, look, it was a bad idea. Because it would have been better for him to keep quiet. Now that he has granted the interview, he's accused, one, of not showing any kind of regret or remorse in terms of his association with Epstein, who was openly known as a sex trafficker and a serious sexual offender and a pedophile, until he committed suicide in a facility at the age of 66 in circumstances that have not yet been fully determined. Right. Now, two, he's also accused of not even showing any compassion or any feeling for the victims of Epstein's, crime. And of course, most of the papers in the UK this morning, including the Mail, including the iPaper, the Mirror, even I think the Times of London, they have the story about Prince Andrew's interview on their front page. And I think in one of the papers, he did say that the only regret he has during that interview is not showing, regret over the death of so many people, or the people who were violated. And then, of course, some of the papers played up the fact that after the interview, he went to the Queen and told the Queen that he thought that the interview went very well.
Even his wife commended him, but
Sarah Ferguson. Sarah Ferguson is on his side.
Of course.
His former wife, although they've been spending a lot of time together with their children, she thought that it was good that he came clean and that he projected himself as a man of principle. But not many people share that view.
I doubt that he projected himself as a man of principle.
You're likely to see a whole week of, negative media for the royal family.
Yes.
You know,
I think
managed.
he should just stay quiet and not give grant any more interviews.
Because Buckingham Palace had released a statement in the heat of the controversy, dissociating him from it, and then he had to go do this interview. I don't know. Some would say perhaps he should have spoken to the FBI instead of down to this interview.
It was like as if he was in a courtroom and he was under oath to tell all
That's a suggestion of some people on both sides of the Atlantic that, well, he should talk to the FBI and disclose all that he knows and have it on record.
Absolutely. We're looking forward to all the other stories that'll come out of this. Well, let's head over to the U.S. now with news under entertainment. Grammy Award-winning musician Kanye West over the weekend gave a surprise performance to inmates at a prison in Texas. The rapper and producer performed to 200 selected prisoners at Harris County Jail, where he shared tracks from his new album, Jesus is King. Kanye performed for both male and female inmates, as well as the staff of the county jail, and many were moved to tears. Yesterday at Joel Olstein's mega church service, the rapper spoke to a packed crowd of 16,000 people about his conversion to Christianity and how his recent spiritual awakening has made him realize he's no longer in the service of fame and money, but in the service to God.
All of that arrogance and confidence and cockiness that y'all seen me use before, God is now using for him. Now, the greatest artist that God has ever created is now working for him.
We all applaud Kanye. I mean, remember when he came out with Jesus is King, people were saying that it has to do with his sale. He wants to try to sell an album, but it clearly looks like he really has converted to Christianity. And I'm so proud of him. That's all I can say.
Well, his public spiritedness should be commended, not his religion. That's a personal thing for him. Two, the manner in which he consistently tops the charts with his albums, 9 of them in a row. Even if Jesus is King is been criticized heavily by some people who have listened to it, has been confusing and divisive, and the mixes in it not having enough cohesion. But to see him going to the Harris County facility in Texas, is quite commendable.
Everyone is always suspect of Kanye West and his motives, what's behind it. I'm happy for him, but I just have one question. How is his wife coping with this new lifestyle of Kanye?
She is.
She's
adopting
well?
Is very excited.
Well, thank you so much,
Thank you, Oji. We'll see you tomorrow morning.
See you tomorrow.